the Instead soft cup. This is the Instead soft cup from the. This is an old style Instead soft cup. The difference I gather between this one and the Flex is these have been around for quite a long time, probably close on 10 years. But the company that made them, Evofem, closed for some reason. I don't know why. There was an awful. It went on immediately before they closed, which suggests that there may have been some dodgy dealings. I don't know. But Flex, a new company, bought the rights to produce this. And so they're selling it now. And it has a black rim. And so a few people do a little video to answer questions for people. So I've got a variety of things here to assist me in showing you how to use the Flex cup. The first being Instead soft cup, also known as the Flex. Smurfette, my stunt vagina. She's a sex toy. I bought her for demonstrating cups. So the reason I chose her, I might just lift the camera a little bit. The reason I chose her was because she was relatively anatomically correct in a lot of ways, like spikes and all. But she has labia and a clitoris even, which I enjoyed that included that, and anus and things like that, non-functional anus, but at least you can. But the most important key feature, was that she has this band here, which, when demonstrating cups, works really well to mimic the pelvic floor muscles and the pelvic bone. It's not working so well trying it with the Flex to illustrate the pelvic bone, but it's good enough. So yeah, I'm going to use Smurfette and the Flex, and I'll also use some standard menstrual cups. Where's the other one? To show how the Flex compares. This one is a cheapy Chinese cup. Just a note of caution to people. This one, I was sent as a sample. I was investigating getting some made. On closer investigation and talking to the factory who was going to make them for me, they were claiming that they made all of their cups out of medical grade silicone, but on further investigation of the silicone type, what they were using was a food grade that, while it is skin safe, it's not designed for that kind of skin safe. It's the sort of silicone you'd use in things like bracelets and rings. Anything that's going to be worn against a mucous membrane or internally needs to meet a different set of criteria, and this one does not. There are others made on the same mold by other manufacturers. So if you are buying one of these, something in this design, make sure to ask the supplier whether they can confirm that it was made from Dow Corning C6 265, I think was the code, but C6 silicone is the important thing. If they can't confirm that, it's probably food grade, because I can tell you that all the factories who use Dow Corning C6, they tell you, and they will send you all of the paperwork. So it took quite a lot of getting out of them that it wasn't. So yeah, just beware. But that's a side note. And then you're going to see a sneak preview of the Orb cup. This is not the final product. The final product will have some detailing around the base and a couple of small features that will be changed. But you get the gist. This is the small Orb. See how short it is compared to another small cup. So this will be on the market soon. More details at orb.com. Sorry, orbcup.com. So orbcup.com. it's about a month away, all going well. We also have a plastic bag. You'll see what this is going to be later. So yeah, I'm going to demonstrate a lot more of how the vagina and cervix and everything work when wearing cups, having sex, and things like that. We also have a vibrator chosen because it's small and smooth, so it will be easy to use with Smurfette. And then just another interesting product that might just to note is the soft tampons. So I'll talk a little bit about those as well. A bit bright, I might just move that. And this needs to move back a bit so you can see a bit more. I am not sure where my sound is coming from. It doesn't seem to be this. Okay, if I'll take that off because it seems to be that it's the webcam. Let's talk up. I'll speak up louder. Okay, so let's start with how do you use a soft cup instead or flex, whatever. Okay, so the instead is slightly different to your standard menstrual cup in that it sits along the length of the vagina instead of across. So when you're inserting it, you have to insert it with that in mind. So ordinarily, when you're inserting it, you would be your labia and vulva would be roughly in this sort of angle. So that's sort of a downward position. So your vagina is pointing pretty much straight up. Because otherwise you're lying down. Now I have lubricated Smurfette, but I'm just going to have to spread that around a bit. Okay, so you squish it lengthways like that so that you get a nice narrow insertion like you would any cup. Now when you're inserting it, you insert it towards your tailbone because you want it to slide along the back wall or bottom wall of the vagina, so along here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Here it's along the base. The reason for that is that you want it as low as possible against that back wall when it finishes going in, so that then when you push it up, so now we're in. I'm just going to push it up with my finger. So you can just see it here. I'm just going to push it with my middle finger there so that it sits behind this muscle and bone. You will feel in a vagina there is this hard bit, and then it suddenly goes soft and sort of opens out like an atrium. That's behind the pelvic bone, and so it slides up. You just pop it in behind that bone, and it will want to sit there, and it just sort of wedges up against that bone in the back wall of the vagina. A lot of people are under the impression that the cervix would be here, on the end here, where my finger is, which would not work, would it? Because you've got, at this point, a cup sitting alongside it, so it would be hitting the end of the cup rather than sitting in the cup, which is what you want. But the cervix doesn't actually sit at the end of the tube. This is where the plastic bag comes in. The cervix, this is the best I could find to demonstrate this. The cervix, basically in this top corner. So when you push it in here, it hangs down from the top wall, basically, not the back wall. So it's always downwards. Now, if you're using a normal menstrual cup, I haven't got anything I can demonstrate, but I'll use my hand. It sits like this. So the cup, the cervix is sort of beside and in, not straight in. Although the way that it moves around and they sort of cozy up, so they will actually sit together like that. But so when you're using the instead will come along behind and sit here to here, like that. So it'll cradle the cervix. So on Smurfette here, the cervix might be here. Okay, so it is sitting inside the rim of the cup, which, if I move it closer to the camera, you can see the pink rim, and the cervix would be sitting in there. In an actual body, it wouldn't slide around as much as this. Just Smurfette isn't as tight as she used to be. She has no muscles or internal organs holding it all together. Poor Smurfette. So when you are having sex with the soft cup in place, you can see, because it sits along the length, it means that there is a space underneath it. It's flipping around on me. So if we just insert our phallic object, let's get some more lube going on here. This is Flow Motion lube that I got from Enhanced Health in Christchurch. It's excellent lube. One of the best ones I've tried. Really like it. Doesn't leave a sticky residue, and it lasts quite well. Okay, so we're going, and that's not just on silicone sex toys. So when we insert that, we can see. Okay, I'll bring it up to the camera. I might need more light in the right places. We can see that the penis would go along below the cup. So if we look at it this way, it's not going to be as clear. Maybe we'll push everything a little bit further out. So it's like this. So the penis isn't going into the cup at all. It's coming alongside it. Now, even if your partner is hitting your cervix up here, there's plenty of space and, where it all expands, because, as we know, the cervix is in the top corner. So if he's hitting that, there's actually all of this area behind, which is called the fornix. That's the bit sort of. So he may be hitting there and pushing it up, or he may just be scraping past it. Or a lot of women will think he's hitting their cervix, but actually he's hitting their G-spot, which is more up here. And that's an angle thing. It very much does depend on the angle. He might be hitting the cervix. He may be hitting the back wall. The other thing about the cervix that does make a difference with using the cup, the Instead cup, is that when you're turned on, your cervix will lift up to accommodate more space, to accommodate more penetration. So I'll just remove these. It's tiny. So, it basically moves back up into the vagina, making the channel longer, so that if he does have a large penis or long penis, it's not going to, you're not going to have as much problem with it hitting a back wall. So that's entirely by design or evolution. It's how it's lubricant. A lubricant, if you're using a condom, even a lubricated condom, make sure there's plenty of extra lube, because this edge can create some friction as he's going past, which can cause the condom to break. Okay, so the cervix will rise up, and then afterwards, when you've come down from the excitement, it also comes back down. So then to remove this cup evolved from diaphragm, the cervical cap. People found a lot of women were using their cervical caps as a menstrual cup before menstrual cups were a thing. So someone came up with the bright idea of, why don't we make one that's specifically for periods rather than something for sex, something that has more capacity that you can actually wear for hours or a whole day at a time. Because a cervical cap is designed to fit your cervix, only have enough space there to hold a little bit of spermicide. So you're not going to get as many hours out of it as you're going to get out of one of these. So they went away and they designed this. And so being able to have sex with it in was sort of a secondary. It was more to create a product that was more generally available, because cervical caps have to be specifically fitted to the individual, so are an expensive project. These are much more readily available. They're still quite pricey for menstrual products, but they are an alternative. If you don't like tampons, there's this available and it's still disposable. So it's nice for travel, things like that. So it is quite high capacity. You can see the size of it there. That's unsquished. I've just squished it back to round. So it's I'm estimating probably 75 potentially, maybe only 50. I don't know, but yeah, it's certainly larger than my sherry glass over there. So the manufacturer's 5 teaspoons, 25 mils, is very conservative. You can most sense the wall. I think that's 25 mils. So there's plenty of room there for it to move around. So when the penis is coming past, there is still plenty of room in there. And it will drag around, but there is still plenty of give. You can sit down the side and things like that. I won't say it's undetectable. It was sort of weird. Like I could feel the rim. So I was aware of the rim, and there was the sort of the rustly feeling of the PVC bag. And my husband, he said you couldn't really feel it, but again, he was aware of it. Like there was just enough there that wasn't normal. Those 2 hard bits there, really, that just made it different. And can you connect it? Come on. My internet sucks. It provides a handle, so when you can wet it or insert it dry. You use the little, you put your finger in there and you use that as a handle to pull it out. Both of these good products to use during sex. The advantage of this one is that you could use it even when you don't have your period. You can use it after sex. Well, actually, you could do this with the sponge too, but pop it in after sex. It will catch any semen in there and stop it running down your leg and into your undies or whatever. Like if you're out and about and you've just decided you want to have a quickie behind the bike sheds, whatever, this will help with mess. You could also use a sponge or a tampon, I suppose, but this one just feels a little bit cleaner in that regard. Another off-label use that some women do is using this after sex to hold everything in place when they're trying to get pregnant. The theory is that you need a little bit of help to get it to hold the semen closer to the cervix so that it gets through. I don't know if there's any science behind that, if it does improve your chances. Maybe worth a try for people who are anyway. Kids, Now, if we compare the Flex to normal menstrual cups, you can see how you smurf it. Just be careful. The edges are quite rough. That doesn't work quite as nicely. Okay, no, we'll use Smurf it because I can get the cup in a little bit more easily. I'm being a bit rushed here, unfortunately. Okay, so we've got the cup in there. It's a small orb, and you can see that it sits across the whole length of the vagina. So if you look down, it's completely covering the hole. It's like a plug across it. So if we tried to insert our little penis here, he would encounter a stem. Ow, ow, stem in the urethra. Ow, ow. And not be particularly sexy. Although with the really short cup, actually, you might be able to get away with that. if you buy an orb and you do use it for that, make sure you trim the stem off and make sure it's nice and smooth. And then, yeah, if it works, let me know. That could be another option for people. So with the short orb, you can see, even with the short orb, you might be able to have sex. It might work okay, but and I know of people using the Maluna Minis in that same way. And if we use this one, I'm using small cups because she's not very big. And it just makes my life easier to use a small one. I was using a large for years, and so you can see this line here where she had a fem cup inserted, and it just sat there in between shows for a while, and I didn't I didn't take it out, and so it's stretched to right at the bottom. See that it's completely covering the whole vagina cavity, I suppose is the word I'm looking for, the whole tube. So then if we try again to have sex with her without moving that cup into her, we're just encountering resistance. So there's nowhere for the penis to go. Or if it does go anywhere, it's going in alongside the cup, and it's creating quite a stir and probably pinching the cervix in there, because the cervix is going to be sitting in the cup. It's going to be just horribly uncomfortable all around. So let's remove it that way because it's easier. Where is the flex? Get back in there. The flex sitting along the length. There is always the space underneath for a penis. Here. Now, removing the flex, that was a big question. So, assuming you've just had sex and it's travelled up and then it's travelled back with your cervix, it's going to be sitting behind the pubic bone. So the first thing to do is bear down a little bit. Oh, now, full disclosure, I have never been able to do this myself without making a hell of a mess, but I do know people who have. I haven't managed to find the angles that work for me. So if I show you roughly, if you're sitting on the toilet or something, it's going to be this angle. So you can see it's pretty close to vertical. So I haven't worked it out. That doesn't mean it's not possible. I would certainly say the first couple of times you use this, you want to do it, you want to remove it over the bath or in the shower, because until you work out how to position your pelvis and things like that, because it might be a matter of tilting. Anyway, so the first thing to do is bear down. What bearing down does is squeezes it so that the flex will move further down and past, it will just pop out past that pubic bone and into the space where these muscles hold everything. And then you reach in one finger, just going to move my finger up because she's a bit dry now. One finger, and you just reach under the rim of the flex. I'll show you what that looks like when it comes out. It's rotating. And okay, so we're pulling it out like that. So you're going to pull